Our next and last presenter for today, tomorrow we're going to have 5 presenters, hails from Denmark, right? So it's Danish, but he's been an angel, so he didn't immediately transition to this venture capital game. In fact, at some point in his life, he was part of a startup and sold mosquito nets, of all things. When I was going for his bio and I was asking him a lot of stuff, what I figured out, and that was a story bearing the lead, he in fact gone for the Danish version of the TV show Survivor and survive. You know what? They have to eat, drink, and all that. This man has been doing a lot of stuff. More importantly, though, he knows how it's like to go through challenges in life. And the way he would describe himself, if I recall correctly, is a slightly insecure overachiever. And I love that honesty. Please welcome Michael of Rockstart. And applause. Let's do it.
Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Bjornlund. I'm here representing Rockstart as the managing partner of one of our 3 pre-seed venture funds. Rockstart actually started as an accelerator 12 years ago, investing in more than 200 companies, not with so much capital, but with a lot of sweat equity and support structure these early days of building a company. We learned a hell of a lot doing that. We also had some nice success stories. And one of the things we also learned is that it's quite a bit of a shame that we don't have money to follow on invest in these founders. So since 2019, after we managed to raise our first venture fund, we've been combining the best of those worlds of pre-seed VC investing and still delivering hands-on intensive support in the early phases of building. Everything we invest in intends to support the Rockstart purpose of responsible investing, as you see up here. We do that via investing in from three different domain-specific pre-seed funds. We invest at the very early stages, as early as possible, basically, so true pre-seed. We still provide a bespoke support structure against the cost to the startup. We invest initial tickets of between 100 to 250,000 euros, upon which we can follow on invest up to potential Series A and B rounds. We invest across Europe in all of the funds. Having more than 350 investments under our belt, you would also expect that we have some nice success stories. One of which, in the middle here, is the best one, Hubs, that was sold to Proto Labs in 21 at a deal worth quite a bit more than 300 million. And I want to wrap up just by giving a little bit of insight into myself, aside from what Gleb has just said. So yeah, I would fall in the bucket of an insecure overachiever. That's been driving me throughout my career, and armed with a strong sense of justice, competitive nature, and a fair bit of empathy. I've been roaming across time in the army, many years in big and small corporates, 6 years as an active angel investor, and then my stint on a television program in Survivor before ending up in venture capital and on stage in Tallinn talking to you guys, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Just on time.
Hey.
Tak, thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'm going to get this off and you feel free, but listen, man, so there's a lot of challenges that acceleration models faced over the years. Obviously, you know, the early one, YC and all that, I've been personally working with a lot of acceleration programs back many years ago during the pandemic. I've met Rockstart, several people. I mean, is that still a viable option? I know you're now a fund. It's good for discovery. But should founders now seriously consider accelerators? Is that still a thing?
I think there is a time still for pure accelerators, because especially for first-time founders or people who have been at the level below founders but breaking out of a startup and want to go at it themselves, I think you can pick a lot of things off the shelves to help you build a company and get some of that support. And whether that's in a VC fund model or just the normal accelerators, yeah, I think there is still a place for it. But you got to be careful about, who you let in or who you go to bed with, right?
And if you would be looking at this not as a VC, and you will be outside of Rockstart right now, because you've been an angel, what was your first opinion about accelerators as an angel?
Yeah, I thought, hey, I'm an angel. I've done this for a few years. Some have done it for a lot of years. And I thought, Yeah, this is what I do as an active angel. Why do you need an accelerator? And why even part ways with equity? So I have been a skeptic before joining a fund
What
that now
changed?
deploys that model. No,
What changed exactly besides you joining the fund and accelerator, and so now you're obviously biased, but what changed?
I spoke to a lot of Rockstar's portfolio companies who had taken them on board, and they witnessed or testified to me what they actually got out of it. And I guess the proof was, were they happy after the fact, whether they had taken that investment from Rockstar or not. So that's what changed, simply testimonials that if you do your research and find the right partner, you can actually deliver value. But I don't think it's for everyone.
What are you buying this? What's your take?
I'm in love with this guy, so I can't ask any tough questions. I mean, shit. We've both been in the army. I wanted to be on Survivor. Of course, would have never made it.
Hey, you got to interview Nassim Nicholas Taleb, which is a very big fact for me. On stage, he rolled the Black Swan.
That was one of the highlights. Yes, Taleb was an interesting person to interview. But I think this might be a perfect question for you. Comes on the back of our bullshit bingo question. Every VC is all about, ESG now. Everything's ESG, right? In fact, you have to have it on your website and everything. Everybody loves the E. Everybody loves the G. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants to talk about the S. What's the deal with the S? Because environment and governance, VCs are like, hell yeah, more. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about social issues, it's like, oh shit, this is getting like socialist. No social. How do you balance that? Because I think there's a big role for the S also. There's a reason why it's a 3-letter name, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the challenge for the S often is that it's perceived that if you pursue a business model which has a social nature in it, you cannot make money on it, which I think is wrong. Although there are several of these, which we say more ideological or philanthropic investors who would fund these deals. But if those are the ones that are, you say, put on a pedestal as the S best cases and the S of the ESG, I think you're going to struggle to raise if you go out saying that. But there is, of course, talking about education in the modern society, if you go outside of the world that perhaps we live in Western Europe, there's a lot of S investments that you can do.
Have you seen a company in your portfolio that changed sort of the society around it, the country it operates in, or the customer base, or that actually changed the S somehow?
Not yet, no. But I hope we will. I mean, we have one investment in EdTech around the safe and smart use of screen time is a big issue for everyone as a parent, right?
That's significant.
So if you can somehow crack that code of how the hell do you not just prevent as a parent your child from looking at a screen, because that's how it's going to be, right? But if you
it's even a bigger issue, right?
Impact.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of time, so 3 minutes. We'll have a bit of a buffer, but I do want to build on this. So one of the audience members here, whoever that is asking, so impact versus money. How does Rockstar evaluate impact in investments decisions? So if I would interpret this a little bit, if you have a really good financially performing company and moderately comparable, but maybe marginally less in the metrics, but very high impact, which one do you go with? It's a bit of a binary question, but let's try to get to the spirit of the question.
Yeah, and I think the way I will actually answer it is we have to go with finding a team that we believe can build a business. But I'll tell you why I'm saying it. It's because we invest at pre-seed when you're basically stating a mission of what you want to do, which can be extremely strong impact driven, but you have no metrics to prove for it. So do you go for that on the basis of what you think they will do, or on the basis of them being a great team?
I had a conversation with one of the top founders we have in Estonia, and he's been, grinding really hard, and he gave me a few questions before, and he asked specifically this. Like, do you have an example where the metrics and business case was basically manure, but you still invested because of the person?
Yeah, I wouldn't say manure, but I've definitely...
I'm being a little bit fancy.
Yeah, no, I know, but I would much rather invest in a team which I really think can make it, but where it's clear that there's a lot of pivots to be had in the business model. I would much rather do that, yeah.
Legit question. When I talk to VCs, they have 20, 30-page memos about the company, investment memos, right? And maybe one page of that is the team. And then they tell me that, oh, well, the team is 80% of our investment decision, but it's like 3% of the memo.
Yeah.
And I have struggled with this myself in our fund. How can you evaluate these people that are essentially doing like a job interview with you? You know, and everybody puts on the best face for a job interview. They don't come in and say, hey, I steal and I drink. I mean, how do you evaluate this? How can you tell which is a good founder, which isn't?
Yeah. There's some experience in it, and then having several eyes looking at the people, asking several of the same questions.
So multiple points?
Not multiple data points, not just internal in Rockstar, but also using friends of the house who can actually talk to them about them as a team, but also how their approach to technology or business models, etc. And then we also do test them, actually. So we have a service provider who can do like a profiling test of how they are in interoperability, but also their
Tell me more. We got a little bit of time.
Tell me more.
How do you test them?
Go up and do that?
They freak out. They're like, oh my God, I'm being tested.
Let's do it.
Big brother.
We tell them what it's for, and we also tell them that they get free of charge a readback of that test, and then we use it in those initial 12 months that we work very closely with them. We use that, provide them the test results to help them build a great team, to help them know their weak points and how they can attract more talent, etc. And
This is the first time I've heard something actually measurable, something very cool.
Final question to wrap this off, ladies and gentlemen. The investment you basically missed out on that could have driven your portfolio already.
Like anti-portfolio type.
Basically, stuff you missed out on that you were like still punching yourself over.
Humble,
It's a favorite question VCs love to get.
Humble
What did you
brag.
miss out on? Yeah, humble brag.
But then I would say it's on my angel investments before I was in Rockstar.
Let's do it.
I only started investing a year and a half ago in Rockstar, so I haven't seen anyone, really rockets that I missed. But I definitely, on paper value, have a handful of investments actually that
So the biggest one.
would have been
Biggest one. Biggest miss.
biggest one would on paper, I guess, from what I know that they raised that, I think I would have missed out on a 30x or so investment. And I have a handful which would go between, I would say, 5 to 20, 30x. But, it's still paper money. They haven't realized that exit
that's
yet.
true.
So you never know, huh?
All right, dude. You're scoring, I think, the highest on authenticity so far. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your votes. Professionalism, 7.6. Track record, 7.8. Your alignment with vision suffers for a little bit, 6.8. And likelihood of recommending, 7.4. You're performing really well, including the previous presenter, man. You're neck and neck with Acton. So you guys are doing pretty well, and Merva too. So guys, I think we're runner-ups. We'll find out obviously after 2 days. I'm not going to spill all the beans. Man, Michael, we're obviously fans. Thank you so much. Tuck, hand of applause.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Let's do it. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Tuck.